Good morning and welcome. Patriot News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Hump Day Wednesday. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. Of course, the physical delivery of wealth insurance. I guess just ask Google how popular is gold. Yes, buy gold. Now screaming up the Google search charts. Yeah, everyone, you know, it's so funny is everybody knows they need to have it. But maybe what it is, Jason, is they don't want to admit that they need to have it because that's kind of like saying, man, these bankers are screwing me, and they just don't want to believe it, right? They don't want to. They want to believe. Listen, I want to believe. Right, I want to believe the stock market, right? Hey, you buy stocks and you put money in your 401k and presto, you're a millionaire. That's all you have to do. No, it doesn't work that way. And I don't find it, you know, it's not even interesting. I'm not even shocked. As a matter of fact, it was only up 64%. I mean, I thought it'd be even more than that, right? When you sit there and you figure out what's really happening, of course, summer's over. Kids are going back to school. Like here in Arizona, kids are already in school. Remember, it used to be like, didn't it? What was it? Labor Day, Memorial Day, whatever. I get those two always mixed up. But
Labor Day.
You used to go back to school after that. No, not anymore because, well, let's face it. You got to give everybody a day off, right? Every group needs a holiday now. allamericangold.com. That is our website. We've got news up there all the time. All the time. And the vast majority, we hardly ever talk about all the different articles that are there. Because why talk? The show's only an hour. And really, with commercials and all that stuff, it's only 40-some minutes. You can't cover it all. You can't do it all. Make sure you get out to allamericangold.com. We got all the podcasts, the shopping cart. Right, we got everything that you could possibly need out there. Those of you starting to worry about your IRAs, we can do precious metals IRAs for you. All that information is also out there. How about the metals plans, right? Those of you that are, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not a guy that's going to do $50,000 or, hey, you run these specials, $20 gold pieces, and, they're $2,600. Well, I don't have $2,600 for as little as $100 a month to get into our metals program. It's a super great program. There is no limit. Listen, we got guys doing $5,000 a month. We got people doing $100 a month. You pick the amount. You pick what day of the month, whatever's convenient for you. Some people, hey, I don't like the first. I pay all my bills on the first. I pay my mortgage, I pay my car, I pay my insurance. Right? Maybe do it in the middle of the month. Some of you want it at the end of the month. Whatever. You pick the day of the month, and then once a quarter. So you get 4 physical deliveries a year. We have some people that, hey, maybe I'm only doing $100 a month. Hey, ship me twice a year so they can build up a little more money to get some product, especially if you want to get gold now, right? That's going to be a harder thing to do. There's no setup. What does it cost to join? Nothing. What does it cost if I need to put it on hold? Nothing. What happens if I want to change the amount? Nothing. It's completely 100% controlled by you. allamericangold.com. You can get all that information, the IRA information, the metals plan information, the shopping cart, all the news, the videos, the articles, the podcast. Jason, it's all there for people. If you want to get yourself educated, that's a great place to start.
Yeah, and if you're wanting to join the metals program, and you want like an ounce of gold every 3 months, because, hey, I can't buy an ounce of gold this month, but maybe after 3 months, well, you better have $1,000 a month going in. If you want a half ounce of gold every quarter, then put $500 a month in. When I first came on in 2018, you can get a little bit of fractional gold with $100 a month, but now you'll be lucky to get the 10th ounce gold eagle with $300 in there. So if all you got's $100 though, and you want to get a little silver every 3 months, go for it. This program is really set up for the guy that just wants to buy and doesn't want to have to think about what it is and what to put in there. We just get you the cheapest stuff available and get it out to you every quarter. If you're very particular, you're very picky about exactly what you want, just listen to the shows and buy when the specials come up and get what you want. But, for the guys that want to just set it and forget it, Joe, that's what the metals program is good for.
Absolutely. And when you do with the metals programs, the IRAs, right, you're going to need help. So you're going to have to call us to set those up, 800-951-0592. Japan blinked this morning. Well, I guess while we were sleeping, the Japanese blinked and said, okay, all right, we were just kidding about, we're going to keep raising rates and defend the yen. I guess the defend the yen policy coming to an end. So last night, the Nikkei was down, like another 2,000 points. They got panicky. I guess that's good news, right? Gold's moving higher. The Dow moving higher today. As again, remember we talked about this yesterday. Really, most of the banks now we've only got two choices, right? Fight inflation or go the other way, which is, hey, you know what? Let's keep printing money. Let's just keep printing money. And you know what? A truck will be a house. A house will now be a mansion, right? A mansion will now just be for the billionaires, right? That's kind of where we're going to, right? We all kind of know that. By the way, another major layoff from another tech company. And then what did Disney say about what's going on with the consumer? We got all that and more. Stay with us. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Wednesday. A quick look in here. The Dow's up 400. The S&P is up 86. The Nasdaq's up 300. All of them well off their highs, but still better than where they were at the beginning of this week into last week. The 10-year note, these things, it's so insane how quickly they're moving all the way back up to almost 4%, 395, as again, these auctions, these debt auctions, remember the 10-year note got down to 3.7. That was right up until they had to start buying debt, and they're like, yeah, no, we're not buying it for that. So 395 on the 10-year note. Crude oil's up over $2. Inventory draws again, the sixth straight week in a row there. Gold now back above 2,400 as gold's up $9, almost $10. Silver back above $27. It's higher as well today, 27.10. But stop playing around. This was a warning shot. When you go back to, say, Thursday and Friday of last week, and then what happened Monday, and you saw, a major stock market, the Japanese Nikkei, fall 12% in a single day. 12% in a day. And you understand why, and it's so funny because I want to say it was like a month ago. Bank of America said, man, we're like one shock away from the Treasury markets not working right. We kind of got that, didn't we? We got a, whoa, hey. It happened to be in Japan this time around. You need to be more diversified than ever before. You just do. A lot of you, a lot of us, right? Hey, 1987, yeah, we were too young. We really didn't have a lot of money in 1987 when the market crashed. And yes, maybe we got caught up in irrational exuberance with Alan Greenspan, right? We all did. I did. You did. Anything.com was a great deal. And then, of course, the wipeout. right? The tech bubble wipeout. Got a little smarter after that one, didn't we? And we saw the housing bubble. Remember, people were lined up in the desert. By the way, we got a lot of desert here. We got plenty more desert. We don't have plenty more water, but we got plenty more desert. To buy houses that were I mean, all they had was like a mobile home on a piece of desert telling you, yes, here, it's going to be here. And people were paying lot premiums and all this stuff. And, of course, it all crashed down. A lot of you were smart. Got protected before it happened. Then a lot of you did it after it happened. Right? You paid more. Right? You just paid more. And, of course, all as we've done is print. Wait, what else have we done? Oh, wait, print. What else? Oh, wait, print. That's all we do. The new bubble is here. You're seeing all the warning signs. They're all here. Be better this time. Get more gold and silver put away. Check out our friends at Y Refi. Lock in. You get great fixed rates of return there. You know what? They're one place. Their lowest fixed rate of return is 6.5%. That's if you just go in for 1 year. 6.5%. You do 5 years, 10.25% fixed rates of return. Not correlated to Wall Street. What does that mean? It doesn't give two craps what the Dow does, what the S&P does, what the NASDAQ does. It doesn't care about the Bank of Japan or the euro or the renminbi, the dollar. It doesn't care. And you know now, all this printing that they've done, right? The world's starting to choke. That's just what happens. I mean, right? They're starting to choke on it all. If you got $50,000 or more, call them up. 888-Y-REFI24. 888-Y-REFI24. If you want to look them up, investYREFI.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. But like I said, just call them. That's the easiest thing to do. Did you see yesterday's layoffs? So Intel started swinging there. Hey, we're closing. We're laying off 15,000 in Big Lots. We're shutting not 50 stores, not 100 stores, 300 and some odd stores. Dell today saying they're going to lay off 12,500 workers, saying that the AI bubble may be starting to burst. And then Disney and their earnings today. Well, guess what? People can't afford to go to the Disney theme parks. Jason, theme park attendance way off. Disney saying, hey, the only good news is people will pay $9.95 a month for the Disney Channel. They just can't afford to go to Disneyland.
I think there's a lot of people that just got pushed out of the Disneyland trip for 2024, Joe. And that goes with a lot of other things. You know, I mean, just local attractions. I'm seeing a lot lower attendance for theme parks or, you know, the amusement parks and even the theaters. Things, you know, just people just they're pinching and scraping. And listen, we're in a culture to stay at home to save money. Stay at home. I just heard some more people that are talking about that. Well, I don't go to work anymore. Stay at home. Everyone's scrimping, Joe. It's every penny counts at this point.
Yeah, so funny is zero hedge. If you bought $10,000 of Disney shares in 2014, you'd have $10,000 today. So, yeah, that doesn't work. You think about that. Imagine what $10,000 could buy you in 2014, right? You can't even come close to that today. How about Airbnb? Right, so that's another consumer gauge, right? That's, hey, we're going to go on vacation somewhere, rent a house. Airbnb saying not only are there less bookings, shorter bookings as well. In other words, hey, not only are people not booking as often, Jason, they're staying less. They just don't have the money. Hey, you know what? We used to stay for 5 days. You know what? We only can stay for 3. This is what's happening. They're saying that Airbnb said the consumer is in a downturn. Vacation spending is definitely slowing, and Airbnb is expecting this to continue. So at least maybe some reality, at least from Airbnb this morning, saying, hey, we don't expect now this bounce back. And I think this is what caught a lot of companies off guard. They really expected, okay, it's slowing down, but they're going to come back. The bounce back is coming. And now, Jason, the bounce back hasn't come. And now we're seeing these oversized layoffs announcements. I mean, these are big numbers.
Well, and something else is happening. You mentioned at the beginning of the show, back to school. You know, if you're a family, how much is it per child just for the free public school, right? So that's an August expense. And, of course, you're not going to go on a Disney trip when your kids are going back to school. So we're getting into the business cycle, right, Joe, the get knuckle down and start working. And people are going to have to work a lot harder to get the same standard of living this year.
And then CVS, anybody surprised here? They're lowering their guidance, higher health care costs, yada, yada, yada. We're going to cut $2 billion. So I don't know how many stores $2 billion is, but look for CVS. We haven't heard yet exactly how many layoffs are going to be coming to CVS. Jason brought up back to school, right? It's not free anymore. I mean, anyone who thinks public school is free, you can send a list, right? Here's the list. Bring all this stuff to school. I think the last time I saw it now, it's like $300. I mean, $300 of supplies to send your kid back to school. How bad is the car business? Stellantis is now in a fight with dealerships that want to send back unsold inventory. So this is what I know about the car business, right? They send you these cars, and you've got, I think it's like 90 days to sell them. And then after you get past that 90 days, you got to start paying for it, right? So if you got a Jeep or Ram or what have you, a Chrysler sitting on the lot for over 90 days, right? You got to start paying for it. The dealerships do. There's one dealer wants them to buy back 3,800 cars and says that they want to drop the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram because they're saying, hey, we can't sell any of these things. Big lawsuits now coming back. Jason, just that one dealership, that's $180 million. How many of these dealerships are calling up saying, hey, you need to take these cars back?
Oh, boy. Well, then that just means there's going to be some layoffs at some car manufacturing, whether it be here or overseas. There's going to be somebody not building cars, Joe. I remember, I forget what what year was it? It might have been during COVID and other years when they go on those holidays. They furlough their workers because they
take the 2 weeks off.
Yeah, and then I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that stuff too as well. I mean, furloughs could turn into unemployment in this cycle, Joe.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting how all of this shakes out as again, credit cards hit a new all-time record high. So think about like with credit cards. So well over $1 trillion now in credit card debt. They're saying that over 60% of people now carrying a balance. That number's usually less than 50. So it just kind of tells you the stress levels. The average balance now at a new all-time record high. And we just learned credit card delinquencies are back to where they were at the end of the financial crisis. And so, Jason, I think this pattern, especially with these layoffs, you start swinging these layoff axes, you're really going to start seeing the stress show up. And I think it's why all of these banks, remember, was it a week ago, all kind of came clean and said, yeah, loan loss reserves are going to have to go a lot higher. And it certainly seems to feel like this talk of recession, this slowdown. Remember, isn't that what Jay Powell said he wanted, right? He wanted millions of people to lose their job. I think he's going to get his wish.
Well, and he's calling it the way he sees it, right, Joe? So you've been talking, this inflation can't stop until you see a bunch of crashing and burning, right? And where it's fermenting, isn't it? It's bubbling up as we speak. I mean, I thought the markets would have a lot tougher time all week this week. I'm surprised that they're coming back from some of that Monday loss, that they incurred. But still have the rest of today, tomorrow, and Friday for this week before it's over, Joe.
Well, again, tomorrow's layoff numbers. I think that's going to be a big number. And I don't know if it's going to be big, but it's going to be an important number. We get anything close to last week's number. Remember last week, 259,000. It could be very, we could have another one of these traumatic days, right? Because of the recession talk, how fast is the slow? That's the key. How big and fast is the slowdown? When we get back, how bad is the finances in California, and why should we care? 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour here on this Wednesday as we wait for the jobs numbers to come out tomorrow. The higher, I guess, the worse it's going to be as far as when are we going to get rate cuts. Again, I still think it's going to be 2. I think they're going to cut in September. I think they'll cut in December, but we'll see. But something else, and there's always something else. It'd be one thing. Hey, our problem right now, it's Japan. Okay, we got a problem with Japan. That'd be okay. We can deal with that. But we got a problem with Italy. We got a problem with France. Right now, Germany, right? It just spreads. The UK, look at the UK. I mean, there's riots in the streets every day now in the UK. Shh. Oh, that's just the UK, right? Oh, it's just them. No, it's not. We worry every day. How's this Treasury auction going to go today? How big is the tail going to be? How much more money does the Treasury have to spend? What little tricks did Janet Yellen pull to make things look better than what they really are? What little tricks does Jay Powell pull to make things look better than what they really are? And that worked for a while. But then sooner or later, guess what? The reality comes home. Monday was a warning. Thankfully, man, and I said it Monday, I was hoping it was only a warning. It's the beginning. This thing has started. There's no going back. That's the thing, though. We're not going back. Robert Kiyosaki was out talking about California and why should we care. We know, listen, the COVID deal allowed a ton of states to cover up their financial problems. That money's all gone. It's all gone. But why should we care about California? I kind of laugh because everyone wants to leave California. Everybody I know that lives in California wants to leave. Why? Because it's too damn expensive. Taxes and taxes and taxes and taxes. Why should we care, though? Well, here's the problem. California is almost the size of Japan's economy. I mean, it's a big problem. And the thing about California going broke, it just means, think about this. If Japan went bankrupt tomorrow, how bad would things be, right? The Nikkei would be down, 60, 70%. Wall Street would be down 20, 30%. It's the fifth largest economy in the world, all by itself. Deficits. Think about this. California had an $86 billion budget deficit. They don't have a printing press. But it's not like they can, we're just going to, print some more money. I think people are going to be stunned at what happens with their taxes. And I know we're talking about, you're like, I don't live in California. All states are in trouble. Maybe not in the size that California is. But, Jason, I think we're going to continue to see, at the same time the federal government needs their money, right? Hiring all these IRS agents and spending $80 billion. Listen, that was all because they needed money. Let's not lie. What was the narrative? That's right. Well, people are retiring. Okay, so we have to believe that the IRS didn't hire for decades, and all of a sudden everybody that worked at the IRS is retired all at the same time. That's not true. That was nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And when this recession hits, you are going to see massive calls for increases in taxes at your local, at your state, and at your federal level. And people better start waking up and paying attention. And Jason, it's something where I don't think people really understand the magnitude. When they look at, it's just bad policy. Why is crime through the roof in California? You know why? Because they don't have any money. That's why. Not only are the citizens broke, the cities are broke, the state is broke. They can't hire police, they can't hire fire, they can't hire in their hospitals. This is just the realities of what is happening, and I think a lot of people underestimate what is going to happen as this economy slows down right there in their own backyards, right in their own local municipalities, in their states. And then, of course, at the federal level, I told you by 2026, I'll say it again. Doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump. Doesn't matter if it's Kamala Harris. There's nothing they can do about the problems inside of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. And at the same time, the states are going to need record levels of help from the federal government. Jason, this is the easiest call I think I've ever made about this bubble bursting, because it's just a simple math problem.
Right, and you're talking California, and too much government, right, Joe? It's just too much government. Too much government, simplified, is too many hands in the cookie jar. The states and the areas that have less government, those people are taking care of themselves more. They're not looking for the government to hand them everything that they need. California's been bad for a while. I remember 2019, Joe, we were talking about, they were one of the states with the pension problems and can't make the payments. And that's, here's the thing. If everybody in the government was probably being fair and honest, probably the problem wouldn't be quite as bad. But what happens is too many hands in the cookie jar. Hey, you get one cookie. Well, that guy puts his hand in, he grabs out two. That's what happens. That's how you end up in this situation. You could have a good government, in theory, but when people want to get paid, they want to get paid, right, Joe? Their programs are more important than the other programs. We're going to take more, and there's not a lot of people in government that want to say no when it comes to spending, Joe.
Well, here's the thing, right? When something becomes unaffordable, these governments, whether it's the federal or the state, they want to give it. Instead of saying, why did it become unaffordable, right? Because then you can actually put the blame where it needs to be. It's the central bank policies that makes things unaffordable. And instead, here's a handout. Here's another handout. Here's another handout. Another handout. Now, essentially, listen, we got half the population of this country that gets handouts from the government. No wonder why they like Kamala. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Wednesday. And today's special, it's a good one. I'm excited about it. $5 Indians. And I just love it when, the $5 Indian kind of was the COVID coin of its day. Because, as you guys remember, I've told the story a bunch of times. Teddy Roosevelt, when he was president in the early 1900s, decided that the Liberty coins, the $20 Liberty, the $10 Liberty, the $5 Liberty, they weren't majestic enough. As he looked at the coins globally, the British sovereign, the Swiss franc, the French franc, right, the German mark, they had these, I guess some would call it these cool-looking designs. And so he was like, wait a minute, we're the superpower now. Huh. Interesting, we became a superpower without a central bank. Isn't that interesting? Because he commissioned a guy, Augustus St. Gaudens, to create a new coin. Of course, I told the story, he died right as the coin was going to be released. So they named the $20 St. Gaudens after him. He also designed the $10 Indian. But then he hired an artist named Bella Pratt to design the $5 and $2.50 Indians. And, of course, now these coins would definitely be politically incorrect today. I don't know why. Because it has the male Indian on the front with his the Indian, headdress on. It's a super cool looking coin. I mean, you would think that, that would be something to be proud of, but people are weird today. But she actually engraved into the coins. So they had grooves in it. This is the first time that they had ever done it. They called it an infused design. Well, in 1916, right, the plague was everywhere, right? Because, listen, we weren't that good at sanitation yet. People didn't understand. And they thought that it was getting into the grooves of the Indians. And so nobody wanted them. So they actually stopped minting them. The $5 Indian, even though this series ran from 1908 to 1933, after 1916, they only minted it 2 or 3 more times. I think it was either 10 or 11 years it was minted. That is it. That's all there was. And they didn't mint very many of them. It always carries high. There was a time where some dealers out there runs on Indians. This coin at times will be twice as much as the $5 Liberty. Not right now. So once again, probably the 3rd or 4th time in the last year, you can now buy $5 Indians for less than a $5 Liberty. $5 Indians right now, $700. So that's $5 less than a $5 Liberty today. $5 Indians at $700. This is a very, I think, important coin in U.S. history because of the story behind it. You know, Eric always used to say, that's where they said, don't put that in your mouth, right? Because you don't know where it's been. Was the $5 Indian. I don't know. There's little folklore to it. But in light of COVID and everything else, you know, all these other things, it kind of is one of the coins that I think to this day, still the best coin the United States has ever minted. 800-951-0592. I think tomorrow's going to be a big day with jobless claims. I still think, you know, but based on the amount of companies announcing layoffs and closings, I'm expecting it to be a pretty big number. And then on the silver side, again, silver really attractive here. I would buy silver at $27 all day long. 5-ounce silver bars, $155. Rolls of silver rounds, $620. Rolls of silver eagles, $685. 800-951-0592. And Jason, just kind of a cool thing, the $5 Indian and the story behind it. You know, first of all, that whole series, the Saints and Indians, we became a superpower. Remember, the central bank didn't even come into existence until 1913. And it was so funny. By 1933, they took the gold away.
Yeah, it didn't take long after they established their bank to take the gold, did it? You know, any competition, because they're going to use their money. They want America to use their money. You know, essentially, they're going to end up, after World War II, you know, long-term plan, 1913, 1945, you know, just 30 years, they got the whole world using it, right, Joe? You know, 1970s, they end up with the petrodollar because their scheme was failing in the 1960s. And so, yeah, they took the gold in 20 years, and that's not because they hate gold necessarily. It competes as a money, right, Joe? Only use these. We can inflate you out of all your assets and take what you got. Only use these, right, Joe? Don't use gold.
Don't use gold. 800-951-0592. Jason and I coming right back with the final segment. 800-951-0592. $5 Indians. Below $5 Liberties today at $700. And again, you know, fractional. You want fractional gold, you got to pay. I mean, that's just the real 10th-ounce gold eagles. We're like the cheapest in the country at $300. I mean, it's absolutely insane because, again, it's getting harder and harder to get the forecast for gold and silver over the next 18 months. It's crazy when you think about what they're talking about. Hey, you know, we're going to see another 20%, 30% increase in pricing. Silver from where it is right now. Gosh, Jason, we could easily see 40 or, heaven forbid, 50% from where it is right now, depending on what is going on in the world. And then the news from the World Gold Council yesterday about mine supply, on top of China trying to do an end around these markets by buying it unrefined before it ever gets to the COMEX, before it ever gets to London, to try to keep these prices down. That only lasts for so long, right? I mean, it's economics 101, supply and demand. And when you look at it, supply of gold and silver down, way down. Demand near record highs or new all-time record highs. And at the same time, supply of debt, Jason, seems to be, it's uncontrollable. And yet the demand for that debt continues to falter. It really is, you know, people, you know, it's the perfect storm. It really is the perfect storm.
Yeah, Joe, and from here on out, I don't see anything easing. Do you think it's going to get better? Do you think that someone's going to reverse this? I don't see anything that resembles a change in the policy of economically in this country. So this is why having things of value in a situation where it seems to me, Joe, that if they get a couple of rate cuts in this year, it'll be short-lived, maybe into 2025, and then you're going to see inflation come back, and you're going to see, I think you see printing and higher rates at the same time. If there's a massive emergency, print.
That
World War
would be
II.
new. That would be new, right? You talk about the bad economic policy, that would be it. By the way, the New York Federal Reserve now saying almost 10% of all credit cards are delinquent. Almost 8% are seriously delinquent. That means 90 days or more. Jason, that's just to give people an idea. There's $1.14 trillion in credit card debt. If 10% of them are delinquent, right? That's over $100 billion more dollars in losses on these banks, and they're not saying that, right? They're not saying that at all. And I think we're getting ready to we're probably going to see record high credit card defaults before this thing's over.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely going to happen. That's going to happen this time around for sure. And just as you are somewhat skeptical of higher rates and printing money, I mean, that's what World War II was. You go buy your war bonds, You didn't buy a war bonds to get no return. You buy your war bonds because, hey, I'm going to help out the cause and make a little money. And they started inflating their way out of the monetary situation of the Depression, Joe.
800-951-0592. Jason and I were coming right back with the half-empty cup. Grab those Indians while you can.